great powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu.
Somewhere Europe has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems, but the world's problems are not Europe's problems.
चुन चुन करके हिसाब लेना ये मेरी फितरत है.
Why should it be a problem if I'm smart enough to have multiple options? You should be admiring me.
भारत झुकने वाला भी नहीं.
The rise of India will be determined by India. It will be determined by our strength, not by the mistakes of others.
The old order is not coming back. We shouldn't mourn it. Nostalgia is not a strategy.
Yes, welcome to my channel. Now in this video we are going to talk about why the world is entering the most dangerous phase of multipolarity. Now if you look into it historically, the transition between the world orders is always the most unstable phase. Every time, whenever there is when there is a power, the hegemon, it goes away, its power declines, then they never give away their power without a fight. Doesn't matter what it is. You will look into it, you find it happens all the time. Okay. And the reason is simple. Reason is that because the entropy of a closed system always pushes towards the equilibrium. It has the tendency to find that. So when we talk about the geopolitical system, then the system has this tendency towards a redistribution of power across the system. That's exactly how it's going to pan out. And when the existing balance of power starts breaking down, the system enters a chaos until the power redistributes itself. And this is what the world is experiencing right now. Why? Because the old system is breaking down. Now, the world is not becoming a dangerous place or dangerous in a world is not going into a dangerous situation because the world order is dying or the old world order is dying. It's becoming dangerous because the old system is losing control before the new system is fully built. And this is always going to happen. Nobody controls the old system and nobody controls the new system. It's just a I would say it's more like a delusion or illusion of control. Okay. Now, dollar system, for example, dollar system still dominates the global finance. Fair enough. America still leads the strongest military alliance network on the earth. NATO, that is. But NATO is also cracking. There are breaks in it. Lots of cracks in there. Global trade still moves across the same oceans. Lots of same choke points. Right? But the concentration of power that once stabilized the system is now increasing geopolitical entropy across the world. Why is that? Because the power was concentrated on one side. It wasn't equally distributed across the whole entire world. In an ideal, stable world, the power has to be distributed equally all over. Maybe plus minus here and there, but overall balance has to be established. Okay. Now, if you look into it, what's happening right now? The global south is rising. The civilizational great powers are returning. Russia challenged the sanctions system. China challenged the manufacturing industrial system. India challenged the multilateral system itself. And now every major power is preparing for a world where no single center can dominate the system anymore. They're playing this diplomatic chess where they want to maintain their sovereignty. They want to avoid the World War III so the world doesn't get into this whole nuclear war, right? They want to maintain their strategic autonomy. All these things are leading to lots and lots of divergences. And that divergence actually is taking this multipolarity into a very dangerous phase. So guys, if you like these type of videos, if you want more videos on emerging world orders, strategic autonomy, the geopolitical systems, the replay that if you want to know more about the dollar system, if you want to know payment system, currencies, trade corridors, all these things, you're gonna find all that on this channel. Please do like and subscribe, and let's get going. Let's get started. Okay. See, the reason number one that the world is entering the dangerous phase of multipolarity is that the old system has lost its monopoly on power. It gets challenged from time to time. Now, actually, let me share my screen real quick. Then I think you will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, there you go. All right. See, the post Cold War system, it worked because one power center dominated nearly every layer of globalization. That's how it was functioning. The military power, reserve currency dominance, financial infrastructure, technology standards, trade enforcement, maritime security, you just name it. But after, in fact, not but after uh, after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the United States entered what many call a unipolar moment. And by the early 2000s, uh, the dollar dominated the global trade settlement. And see, the whole entire Gulf War was orchestrated. At least that's what my belief is, that it was orchestrated, and Saddam Hussein was actually killed for one reason. It was not because Saddam Hussein did anything or anything. It was just simply to cement United States uh, military superiority in the Middle East region, to send a message to anybody that was out there that, hey, if you try to go against the dollar, this is the fate you are going to meet. And if you notice that the rise of euro stopped at that point, then dollar dominated the global trade settlement. SWIFT became the backbone of global finance. NATO expanded across Europe. US naval power basically secured major shipping lanes. And that was the time, I mean, US opened so many bases all over just to control those choke points. Then Western institutions like IMF, WTO, and World Bank and all that, they were altering the global trade. They were the influencing the finance and all that, finance rules and all that. Now, all that was fine, but over time, what happened is the system became increasingly weaponized, as we have seen this many times. I don't even have to explain what system weaponization actually looks like, what it exactly means, right? Sanctions expanded aggressively. Anything happens, sanction. I mean, right now, I believe there are almost 50 countries that are under US sanctions, small or big or something or something. Trade dependencies, they became geopolitical leverage. Technology access became political pressure. In 90s, early 90s, or say, I would say, uh, US had put pressure on Soviet Union to not give India cryogenics technology. India made its own. So this is how this whole thing has been working. Supply chain became what? Strategic weapons. Look at what's happening in the Middle East right now. And countries, so what happened with all this? The countries slowly realized that the global system was not neutral. Let me share my slide again, actually. Yeah, there you go. So global system was not neutral. It had a geopolitical center. Once countries, they understood that the access to finance, shipping, reserve currencies, semiconductors, you just name it, trade routes, all that could become a political tool. So they stopped trusting that existing system. And that's the real turning point. not just the Ukraine or BRICS or something. The turning point was when countries started preparing alternatives to the existing system. And if you look into the latest example of this whole thing, building early system, India, like for example, India launched its own Bharat Maritime Insurance. What is that? Up until now, Lloyd of London was controlling all the insurance and all that. Very few government bodies are there right now who are actually providing the insurance and everything. But India started its own. And now they have added Russian companies into it too. Right? That is a challenge. Then, if you look into the numbers also they will start to show you the shift. Russia was supposed to be isolated as a major sanctioned economy on earth after 2022. But guess what? It continued to redirect large portion of its oil exports towards Asia. India imports Russian crude, like almost 35 to 40% of it. And what's interesting is this. What's interesting is that the very country that actually sanctioned Russia was begging India to go and buy Russian oil so that India can sell it to Europeans to stabilize the oil market, energy demand. Isn't that interesting? This is why I said that entropy of a system, it has the tendency to reach the equilibrium. It has the tendency. There is nothing that can change it. Okay, no amount of power, no amount of nothing. This is the law of the universe. Okay. Now look at the China. China became what? World's largest manufacturing power. Otherwise, that manufacturing used to be in the West, in the United States, United Kingdom. From UK, it shifted to US, and then from US, it shifted to China. That was the start, right? One thing you shifted to China, and now you're looking to again what you're trying to do. What West is trying to do? They're trying to manufacture things again. Why? Because they realize that China will have monopoly on things. So when China has monopoly on things, then that's a problem for them. Right? China basically, like what? 30% of global manufacturing output. That's what China controls. Now, if you look into the what BRICS did, BRICS kept expanding while Gulf countries increasingly balanced between your Washington, Beijing, Moscow, and New Delhi. Right? So BRICS continued to expand. Why? Because the multilateral system that existed, they were not doing their job. Now, see, here's the thing. I'm not saying that old system is completely dead and whatnot, right? The old system still has enormous power. But what's happening is that it's no longer has uncontested authority. And that's where the problem is. The problem is that at any point of collision, this creates more and more points of collision. And collision leads to conflicts. And in this stage, in the nuclear stage, any conflict between major powers is a very dangerous thing, right? So contesting anything and everything that old system is trying to do, and if the new system contests it, then that's the first sign of the dangerous phase, right? So we have to look for these things, how the conflicts are, where the conflicts are going, how the whole conflicts are shifting. That's going to tell you where the world is headed and if it's going to even survive or not. Okay. So let's move to the next part of this whole thing. Okay. And the reason number 2 is that new multipolar system is still incomplete. And this is the part most analysts misunderstand. Okay, let me actually share my slide real quick. See, multipolarity does not automatically create stability. transition periods between world systems are historically the most dangerous periods because power decentralizes faster than institutions can adapt. And I explained you why entropy, right? That the cold system needs more entropy, it will have more chaos, and the hard system will need less entropy for the change, right? This is why the power decentralizes faster than the new system the institutions can actually adapt. The old rules weaken before new rules emerge. The old corridors, become they're weakened, they're gone before the new corridor can mature. Like for example, right? Like for example, Middle East. Look at the Middle East. What's happening in the Middle East? Iran war. Is there an alternative to Strait of Hormuz right now? No, there is none. Right? Yes, President Trump may be saying that, yeah, let's go to America, buy things from America, every supply chain is coming to America, and this and that. But the question really is that how stable that's going to be. Yes, that is a temporary solution. Very good, very nice. Like I said, the ultimate system has to reach the equilibrium state. So switching the supply chain, all the supply chain to US and in the Western hemisphere, that in itself is not a very stable solution. Right? Maybe until President Trump is there, but after that, is it going to be a stable solution? Right? Then if you look into the old payment systems, they're losing trust. Like SWIFT is losing trust. Look at what's happening right now. BRICS has just announced that they're going to link their payment system, their digital currency payment system, CBDC payment system. They're going to link all that together. So during that transition phase, every geopolitical crisis becomes larger. Okay, it becomes very large because there is no universally accepted referee anymore. How do you know? How, like I said earlier, right? That when you're refereeing, when you're saying that, okay, let's not fight with each other, like President Trump said that, okay, Russia, Ukraine, please stop. I will just make one phone call and war will stop. What's happening? Nothing. President Trump said he has stopped 11 wars. He can't even stop his own war right now. Right? Look at Ukraine. Ukraine became what? An energy war, sanctions war, reserve currency war, supply chain war, everything. Red Sea. Look at the Red Sea, Persian Gulf. It's becoming global shipping crisis right now. Taiwan is becoming a semiconductor choke point. Right? Russian oil became refinery and payment system restructuring crisis. Same thing with Venezuela. Right? So what's happening? The world economy itself has started to basically what? It has started into the fragmenting into the overlapping systems. Okay, that's what world economy is doing. It is fragmenting into overlapping system. Okay, it's so this is the state that you have one unipolar moment, you have one system. Now it's falling apart one at a time. So everyone is right now, what they're doing, they're experimenting with it. Hey, what's the alternative to say, oh, we don't have anything right now. Okay, let's go have our own Nostro, Vostosi, SFPS, CIPS, all that payment systems. Huh? And let's do it. We will think about the rest later on. That's the mode the world is in right now. We will think about it later on. First, let's get it going, whatever it is, just to get rid of this thing, right? So this is how it is, right? And if you look at the examples, another thing like Europe, what happened with Europe? Europe lost a large volumes of Russian pipeline, gas, energy, all that. And Europe, the problem with Europe is that Europe hasn't found the alternative yet. In the meantime, what Russians have done, Russians have redirected the energy flow towards where? India and China. Right? Then Red Sea disruptions, what happened? Roughly 12 to 15% of global trade normally moves through the Suez Canal. 20% of the global trade moves through the Strait of Hormuz. Right? Now look at the semiconductor. What happened with semiconductors? Semiconductor TSMC. Right? TSMC became one of the choke points. Chinese are saying that we're going to take that over. Right? So what's the alternative here? Alternative is that India is ramping up the semiconductor production at a rapid pace. India is working with Korea. US has come up with what? US has come up with the Pax Silica. They came up with that term. Now, what's interesting is this. Here's my point. I want to prove my point here. Go look into the members of Pax Silica. You will find that Taiwan is not part of Pax Silica. Why is that? Because US just doesn't want to anger China right now. They're saying, okay, we are building our own supply chain. In the meantime, we need your manufacturing prowess. We need your manufacturing. We need your product. So I'm not going to do anything to anger you. So what do you see? Next 10 years, you will see that another manufacturing hub will emerge. That is, India is going to emerge as a manufacturing hub. UAE is going to emerge as a manufacturing hub. This is why UAE is very important. Dubai is very important. India is very important. Right? So lots of these things are happening. If you notice, local currency settlements have increased. Alternative payment systems have emerged. Lots and lots of payment systems have emerged. Regional supply chains are accelerated. Look at India and Russia. Vladivostok Chennai corridor. They are working on INSTC is there, but right now it is disrupted overall, and they are working towards another supply chains, other supply chains too. India and UAE are working towards another supply chain. So what's happening? You noticing that how world is realigning itself, right? And just trying to create some sort of stability. So right now, this stability, what they're doing is that they are just patching things up, okay? And none of these systems are what? Fully mature. And that's why the world suddenly feels more unstable. Why? Because the new system is not fully built yet. And the gap that's there, right? The gap of the transition from a stable unipolar system to the stable multipolar system, that gap in itself is a dangerous phase. Why? Because it will be filled with what? Conflicts, lots and lots of divergences, lots and lots of threats. Like I said earlier, right? Like look at the Taiwan, look at the Red Sea, look at the Strait of Hormuz. These are all the conflicting points. These are all point of inflections right now, right? So that's why I said that the second reason is that multipolar system is still incomplete. And it's going to take a while, at least I would say next 5 to 10 years, until we can actually see something stable. Okay. Now coming back to the last and one of the most important reasons is that every major power is quietly building backup systems. China, payment rails, Russia, financial networks, India, energy plus currency, right? Rupee settlement discussions, Russia's crude import scaled to 35 to 40%. Saudi Arabia's trade currency openly discuss non-dollar trade mechanisms with China. UAE and India and UAE are already doing that. India and UAE are linking their payment systems together with the digital currency network. Then there is a BRICS bloc, right? So all these things are happening. So there is everything, backup for everything. For example, if you look into the backup military partnerships. India and Russia have signed lots of military deals right now. India and Israel have signed defense partnerships. India and UAE have signed defense partnerships. Then shipping corridors. India and Russia have worked on many shipping corridors right now. They are working on lots of them actually. Then backup energy suppliers. So now it was Russia. Now India is going to actually shift to UAE as well. Right? Backup technology ecosystem. So lots and lots of countries are doing all these things. They all have their own backup plan. China expanded yuan settlement systems through CIPS. Then Russia developed Mir payment system. India increased the rupee settlement discussions. And in fact, I think that this is what's going to happen. The next thing you're going to hear is probably by mid-May, in a couple of days, or by the end of May, you're going to hear is that India and UAE are going to increase their trade, in which India is going to ramp up the oil import from UAE, Dubai, and they're going to do that trade in the national currencies. That's exactly how it's going to pan out. We will see that happening. Okay. So what will that do? What will that do is that India is going to actually work with its partners and simply replace the whole entire crude oil supply chain. Meaning that they're going to buy the cheaper crude oil and they're going to sell the refined crude products pretty much at the same price as the crude oil. So the countries that don't have any refineries, even though they may be crude oil producers, they're going to buy the cheap refined crude product. Why? Because it's cheaper. And why India will be able to do it? India will be able to do that thing because of the dollar system itself. Why? Because dollar is losing its value. The global inflation. Right? All that has increased the global oil prices. And then also because of the war risk premium going up, the Lloyd of London is not going to decrease the oil prices. Why? Because they want to recover their money. So who is the winner in this whole game? Right? One country. So we're going to see that thing happening too. So what do you see? What are we seeing here? We are seeing that world is headed so far right now. What's happening? We are seeing the overlapping geopolitical ecosystem. What's the overlap here? Overlap is that on one hand, you notice that there is a country that is fighting to protect its old system. But then there is another country that is saying that, hey, your old system, you keep fighting for the old system, that's okay. But we still have to stabilize the global economy. So the old system really cannot do anything about this new overlap. What is that overlap? Overlap is selling the refined crude products at a cheaper rate than the crude oil itself. So US may be saying that, yeah, Venezuelan oil, yay, all that. They may be saying all that, but at the end of it all, what that is going to do is that they won't be able to sell that crude oil. They will have to ask foreign refineries and their own refineries and other countries' refineries to go and establish refinery over there so that they can actually sell the refined crude product at the cheaper rate. And US may actually exit out of the crude oil market altogether to stabilize its local market, local oil pricing. Right? Now, another overlap. Look at overlap. India is a perfect example of overlap, if you ask me. What is that? India is part of BRICS. India is part of Quad. India is part of SCO, that is China-led system, right? India is in Pak Silica. US asked India not to buy Russian oil. India said that piss off, we are going to buy Russian oil. They continued to do this. They're still doing it. In fact, they have increased it. So So this is what's happening. See, the maintaining the strategic autonomy, right, while engaging every major power block simultaneously. That's what India is doing, right? So all these are the backup systems, and creating a backup system also leads. There is overlap, then there is conflict too, right? Because let's say if some other country like countries like Saudi Arabia or somebody says that, hey, today we are not going to sell anything in oil, we're not going to sell oil in dollar, then we have a bigger problem. Look at, overlap was there, but look at Iran. Iran is not able to sell its oil right now, right? So there is a fight right now, right? And that fight is going to create more and more uncertainty, and that uncertainty in itself is very dangerous situation, right? Why? Because in a fragmented multipolar world, you need flexibility, and that flexibility becomes a strategic power. And this is why strategic autonomy is suddenly becoming one of the most valuable policies on earth. This is why, even under conflict, if you look at it, countries are more and more focused on maintaining and protecting their strategic autonomy. Look at Europe now. Europe has also uh, become more and more assertive about it. Look at countries that were pretty much they were yes men of United States, but now they're like, hey, don't go that route, we don't like this, please don't do this, that. But they are getting assertive, more and more assertive about things, right? So so this is what we are going to see. There will be dangerous moments, there will be lots and lots of dangerous phases in the multipolarity, okay? And that's how it's gonna happen, and this is whole thing is going to be this way for at least few more years, until there is a stability, the equilibrium has reached, and the world says that all major powers, they are like, okay, all right, let's get together, sort out few things so that we can move forward with those rules, agreed upon rules. That's how eventually multipolar world is gonna settle down. Okay, so this is it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in another video. Take care.